Okay, so I had to pause the video because now we're going on to a different subject. It's still the same topic. We're talking about the Queen of England. How did the Hotongs become so wealthy? Now, the Opium Wars. What is going on with the Opium Wars? So, when you're on an island, they can't fuck with you. So you're safe. Okay? All your money's safe. You're on your island. You know they're going to come get you. Now, if they don't come get you, you can start plotting. So, considering England was the first modern country, well, depending on how you look at it, the Bank of Orange opened up, I believe it was in fucking, in Holland, I think a few decades before the Bank of England, in 1694 or something, I believe. But once the Bank of England was, open and doing business, forget about it. Forget about it. So what do? Get the Bank of England, Queen of England, or the Crown, we gotta make some money. What do we got? It's like, well, we've invaded, through Europe. We've invaded into, the region of the Hindu Kush area. We've taken over India. It's like, now, what's the plan? It's like, well, those Pakis, we're gonna fucking bleed them broke. Those Indians, we're gonna fucking, Christ. The name escapes me. He's a royal. He claims that when he arrives in India, he says, this place is remarkable. Not one beggar amongst them. People of such culture, of such religious tolerance, of such beauty. He said that there'd be no way for England to take over this nation unless we spend generation and generation, warping them, and hopefully in 50 years, in 3 generations, what we have then will look nothing at all with what we started off with. And that's precisely what they had to do. People don't know this. Taking over England taking over India. It's portrayed as this fucking, the English come in and they're like, all right, fucking brown person, submit now. And he's like, oh, just notice that I'm going to, Hindu you. And I'll call you back. Sorry about that. Okay, so, they fucking, the British come in and just fucking, they wipe out all the Indians. They walk up to fucking, Drake Rangish and they smack his turban off. Actually, no, that's not what happened. Believe it or not, the Indo-Iranians, the Aryans, if that's what they really want to be called, put up quite a fight against the English. And specifically, there's one division, I'm going to look this up, I'm going to have to hit pause, we'll do it at the end. He was a gentleman, this completely threw the English soldiers off guard. The English soldiers were well equipped, they were used to fighting, they were tough. But they hadn't expected one thing. There was a special division of 1,200 rocket fighters. His name was like Saj Ali something, had a special division in his army of 1,200 rocket fighters. So what is this rocket fighter you're talking about? So what these guys had was 6-pound rockets that they would fire up to 100 to 300 yards at the British. Yeah. They had, militarized small versions of cannons that could fire between 6 and 12 pounds. And in the end, the English, did defeat this guy in the end. They fucking killed him and they wiped him from the pages of history, never to be spoken of. But, that battle was a little bit harder than they expected. Now it's like, well, to go through all that hard work, what was it for? What did they want? It's like they wanted Afghanistan. They wanted the poppy fields. Why? Because there's a giant mountain. You have to keep one thing in mind. If you take India, okay? Now when I say India, I mean in those days, which would be like Pakistan, India, fucking Kashmir region, Afghanistan, that whole sector, okay? If you take that, and to you, the Hindu Kush, the mountain regions, once you cross those mountains, you're in Afghanistan. Okay, those people are fucking. If you live the life of a Pashtun, if you live a life of Pashtun Wali in the mountains, you and your tribe is essentially your family and your related family, maybe about 30 people, 30 to 90 people, who are like your aunts, your uncles, and every single fucking day, it is bitterly hard to live. It's like, we have babies, give me an example. Situations play out where the mother has to decide, well, I don't have enough food for me and my 3 kids. Which one of them should we kill? And sometimes the mother, she stops eating. She feeds the kids because she realizes she eats more than the 3 of them combined. So the mother dies. It's a hard life. So in that kind of fucking situation, Jacques Fresco told me this when I met him. We sat there, we spoke. He said, Sonny, he's like, you seem like a very intelligent fella. He's like, can I ask, do you have any plans for your future financially speaking? Or, regarding career? And I said, it's too late for any of that shit, Jacques. I'm like, I'm not going to fall for that. He's like, very well. He's like, the consequences of your actions will one day, perhaps find you incarcerated. And I come to that conclusion years earlier. He's like, may I offer you something? He's like, you don't seem to be a religious person. You don't have, he's like, do you have a moral code? And I'm talking to myself, like, do I have a moral code? I suppose. What do you mean? He's like, do you know what the Pashtun Wali is? And this is up to that point, I wasn't familiar at all with the lifestyle of the Hindu Kush. And he explains to me the mountain regions and the difficulties of life and whatnot. And there's our tribe, their tribe, another tribe. And something as simple as you caused the death of 2 of my goats. Something just as simple as that, because of neglect, let's say. That can cause a fucking blood feud that lasts 5 generations and it expands 3 different families. And in the end, 200 people die. Because of a fucking dead goat that someone neglected. That's the life of the Pashtun Wali. So over there, your honor is your fucking honor. Okay? Giving your word is giving your word. And we all have to abide by certain things. If my family's sitting here and one of your brother-in-laws, he was, attacked by some wolves and he barely fucking scraped by, and he's like all bleeding. We have to take him in and help him. It's like, yeah, but listen, Pops, we don't have enough fucking food. Mom's already starving. It's like, well, Mom, you're already starving. Kids, you're not eating, and neither am I. We gotta feed this fucking guy. It's like, well, who is this guy? This is a Uyghur. He's wearing a turban. Doesn't matter. Pashtun Wali. If you take him in, we're gonna treat him. You don't rat on your fucking family. Always maintain honor. It's like, sorry, the girls, we gotta sell them. That's the prize here is a beautiful daughter. Hopefully, if she's beautiful, we can teach her to sew. We can teach her to cook. We can marry off to one of the richer families down in the valley. It's like, Dad, why don't we move to the valley? Why do we live up here in the mountains? He's like, quiet, yous. Because we fucking have to. It's like, yeah, but why do we have to live up here in the mountains? It's like, because we're growing fucking heroin, kid. Don't you fucking realize what we're doing over here? See those fucking poppies? They're not for Remembrance Day, kid. Okay? You know who's those belong to? Those fucking plants don't grow. We're in big fucking shit, kid. Those belong to Vicky. It's like, who's Vicky? It's like, it's the fucking Queen of England, you moron. Those fucking plants died. We died with them, okay? She wants that fucking poppies. She wants her smack. It's like, why? It's like, well, she's trying to take over the Chinese opium. She's trying to take over China, and she's going to do it with the opium trade. It's like, I don't get it. It's like, listen, kid, what'd I tell you? We grow the plant, we don't smoke that plant, right? It's like, yeah. It's like, we can fucking, we can smoke hashish and we can do other things. We can fuck goats. We can, wear turbans, but we can't smoke that fucking plant. That plant's no good, okay? That plant, what we do with that plant is we destroy Chinamen with it. It's like, destroy Chinamen? Most people today in 2020 don't realize the story of China. Up until 1950, even during World War II, Japan was the enemy. Japan's the little island next to China. China's the big fucking mainland. China had 3 times the population of Japan. I mean, why was Japan so tough? It's because it was a fucking island and China was a bunch of pussies. They still had the traditional Manchu dynasty going on in 1904. It's like, what does that mean? It's like, it means we all go into the field and plant rice for the king. Mm-hmm. A good story is the finalization decision. It was after fucking whatchamacallit jumps out the window there, Forrestal. That's another story. 47 when Forrestal dies? Yeah, why did he do it? What happened with that? What's that all about? Anyways. Give me an example. Someone like Forrestal was meticulous, he was on budget, and he knew a problem a mile before we got there. But the problem with Forrestal was that, and he was a career guy. He started off when he was fucking 16, and now here he is at the age of fucking 50. He's, this is his life. He knows. But every 4 years, we got some new fucking boss. And, the guy Franklin Roosevelt, he was a good guy. We were okay with him. Who's in charge now? It's Truman. Who? Harry. Harry who? So who's this fucking guy? So believe it or not, the guy's the son of a mule. Harry Truman was the son of a mule trader. It's the son of a mule trader? What did he do before he worked here? He was a hat salesman. So, what do you mean? He was a hat salesman? So yeah, the guy sold hats. He sold hats. The hat? He sold hats. Then he became president and he bombed Japan. Yeah, that's another thing too. You read one of these books up here. Read Morals and Dogma, okay? By Pike. That's one of them. It's up there somewhere. Read Morals and Dogma by Pike, but he goes over the 3 world wars. It's like, wait, hold on. You read the second one again. It's like, okay, I understand the concept of the Second World War, but what happened? So what do you mean? So, well, nowhere in this fucking plan do we talk about fucking, incinerating Japanese people with 2 massive nuclear explosions. How'd that happen? That wasn't part of the, you look at the plan, it's like, well, here's the original version of the plan. Time goes by, things change, I'm aware, but Did we have to do that? It's like, no, that wasn't part of the plan, wasn't necessary, didn't really achieve the end goal. How did that happen? It's like, well, the guy we put in charge was a trusted, respected member of the heroin crew. He was not only, he was the grandson of he's Delano's grandson, and he's Rosie's grandson. I mean, he's double trustworthy, right? But the guy was in office for like fucking, what? They had to make an amendment after him, like, so he can't be president that long ever again? Yeah, like, we kept him in office, it was like 94, even when he died, we had him on strings, had him on sticks and strings just so we can keep him around, making fucking, writing false papers and shit. But then when this fucking guy dies, we didn't expect him to die the way he died, just whoop. It's like, okay, well, now what happens? It's like, now, what was plan B, just in case, didn't you guys foresee this? An old man, fucking what, 70-something years old, didn't you foresee the possibility you might die in office? It's like, we did, and just to be sure, no one fucked us over on our plan, we put the guy under him, was the son of the mule guy. The mule guy who sells the mules? His son there, Harry. It's like the guy we buy the mules from? You put his son under the number 2 guy? It's like, yeah, he wouldn't fuck us over, he's the fucking mule. The guy was a hat salesman. He's the one that was selling hats. You made him president. He's not gonna fuck us over, don't worry. These people lost big in 34 with, no one talks about this. You gotta know the story of the business plot. Look that one up. Look up the business plot in 1934. Oh, listen, it took a lot of Wall Street money, took a lot of fucking, backstabbing, a lot of deceiving to make a pile that big to fund Nazi Germany, make sure Hitler takes over there. And once he grabs power there, 1933, Hitler becomes, okay, good. Peak of the Depression, America. People are starving, there's no money, things are fucking hideous. Here's the plan. Whatever you want to call these people. Some people call them, if the plan is the New World Order, it's the people who service that plan. You want to call them the Illuminati, the elite, what have you. These people. They decide that what the plan's going to be over here is the average American is going to be so fucking fed up with the Great Depression, being poor, being hungry, starving, no jobs, no food. We're going to do a fucking march on Washington. Now, at that time, there was actually 5-star generals, and there's only one of them, a guy named Smedley Butler. He was the head of the army, and they said, Smedley, come here. What we're going to do is we're going to walk the fuck in the White House. We're going to walk right in there. You're going to say, listen, I relieve you of your, President fucking Roosevelt, I relieve you of command. It's like, well, I'm sorry, General, you don't have that position to do so. Like, well, it's like there's just you, and then there's me and these 2 million American. Those 2 million Americans standing outside the White House, about, half of them, I think 500,000 would be U.S. Army soldiers, and the rest would be, the average people who are fed up with fucking being poor. Played it like, you know why you're poor? It's his fault. It's like, well, are you sure, rich guy? Can you buy me a bowl of soup? He's like, no, I got no fucking change. So, put the mule trader son number 2, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I really don't. Turns out the mule trader son was a fucking hell of a racist. We kind of overlooked that. Turned out the mule trader's son was a fucking racist, like you wouldn't believe. He really didn't like fucking. He's like, oh my Tojo! Take this, Tojo! Boom! And Mackey too turned out to be a hideous racist against the Japanese. Bob McNamara. There's an event called the Cuban Missile Crisis, 62, Kennedy. This is the period whereby they say, historically speaking, since we've had nuclear weapons and the Soviet Union had theirs, this was the one confrontation that brought us closer to imminent, total fucking destruction of the earth and imminent death of all of us. It was November of 62, Cuban Missile Crisis. And essentially what they do, it's a long story, but Bob McNamara, his cool-headedness, he calms Kennedy down, he rethinks the plan. No one fucking dies. Yay! And you know what's a good deal? How about this? Instead of you dying and I dying and all of us dying, we don't do that. We don't do dying. We do no one dying. Bob McNamara. So they sit him down one time, they're going over his career. It's like a fucking documentary about his life, He's an old man sitting there, and they're going over all of his achievements. And they're like, Bob, all the things you've accomplished, what do you feel was the greatest thing you did, the most successful action? He's like, well, it's an interesting question. And, you're going to think he's going to talk about the Cuban Missile Crisis, how he saved the world. He's like, I would think my greatest success was back in 1942. I was in charge of strategic air raids against the Japanese Japanese home island. And due to my planning, successfully we'd upped our nightly raids had successfully been risen up to 100,000 Japanese civilian kills a night. And they're like, wait, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, under my directive, places like Hokkaido and Kobe. Kobe was the old capital until we burnt it down. He's like, he's like, I started using a specific, he names the specific, warhead causes more fire. He's like, the last guy was doing 18,000 a night. I'm doing 100,000 a night. That's incredibly successful. And the guy's sitting there doing the documentary, he's kind of dumbfounded by the answer. He's looking at him, he's like, McNamara, being the intelligent person he is, he sees that, the what do you call him, narrator, the fucking guy who asks the questions, he sees the discomfort, the lack of understanding. He says, well, maybe you'll misunderstand how, from the point of view, strategically speaking, from the Army point of view, that is incredibly, incredibly successful. I'll give you an example. 1 million Japanese died when they nuked them. Well, that's just 10 days with Maki. I mean, Maki was doing that from fucking, 42 till 45? Burnt a lot of them. That was his greatest success. So you would think someone like Maki being in charge, what a fucking maniac. Who are these fucking people? Where did they come from? How did they become that fucking... It's like, was it just a different time and a different generation? It's like, It's like, once again, who is that guy? He's like, that's Senator of Maine. That's Prescott. It's like, whose crew was he with? Prescott. Who the fuck is Prescott? He's like, Bush. It's like, oh, yeah, the guy from Maine. Maine's right next to Quebec where I am. Don't you mean Texas? It's like, fuck no. Brother, not from Texas. That's total bullshit, bro. He's like, now, that being said, Prescott, he was more like a middleman. Next to Prescott was Harriman. So who the fuck is, Harry? Which Harry? Harry the mule son? Not Harry the mule son. Harry, the guy who owns all the fucking railroads. Harriman. It's like, fucking, oh yeah, what else has he got going on, that guy? So when Lenny's got big fucking piles of money, he's died in heavy with the Brotherhood of Death. So you're an educated person, you went to college, you went to a fancy university, and what's funny was that prior to my incarceration, the number 2 I put in charge of my organization, and we'd all be standing around partying, I'd say, listen, I'd say something intelligent, and they'd say, oh, I've never heard of that. I'd say, well, I have to bring your attention. I did graduate top of my class at Princeton University, and then go on to, Caltech, where I studied genetics. And someone's like, did you really do that? And I'm like, no, I'm a fucking local dirtbag. I didn't do any of that. But he did. And I point over to Ignatius, and Ignatius is like, yeah, that was me. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? I'm like, that's Iggy. He's with me. Yeah, that's what you do. It's like, now, shamefully, we picked Princeton. When we were young men, we were 12, 13, 14 years old. Had I would have, been aware of, it's like, hey, bro, would you rather that? No. How about we apply to Yale? It's like, what's the difference? Why is Yale so much better than Princeton? It's like, well, they got something going on there. Okay. It's called, these, what do you call those? There's fraternities, I guess, college fraternities. It's like, yeah. It's like, well, they got a really good fraternity going on there. It's like, what do they call it? It's like, they call it the Knights of Eulogia. It's like, okay, the fuck, what do they do? It's like, well, they're, the Knights of Eulogia 322. They're part of the order. It's a part of the order. Which one? It's like, well, that's the Order of the Brotherhood of Death. You know about that, right? Yeah, you know about that. Ties back to Germany, Bavaria, 322, Knights of Eulogia. Say no more. Anyways, you go over there, and it's, truth be told, that's what they about most people misunderstand. They're like, oh yeah, bro, it's fucking Illuminati, and they're doing satanic devil work. No, they don't. No, not there. I mean, well, actually, wait, hold on. I retract my statement. They most certainly do that there. But not every fucking night. The night we go over there, it's like me and some fucking 19-year-olds, we're all getting drunk. I'm like, yo, guys, do you ever do the Adidas triple lines? Like, you do one line of Coke, one line of Speed, one line of Special K. You go, boom, 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 Adidas. These guys are like, oh, no, I never did that. They're a bunch of college kids. They want to get drunk. I'm like, yo, bro, who's fucking this broad? Who is that? They're like, oh, no, she's with the sophomore. Yeah, bro, get her over here, bro. What happened to that girl? Who's this girl? It's incredible. They're party kids. Now, that being said, their fathers are all senior directors of Planet Earth. And that's the one part that's always confused me. I don't want to say that the side I love the most is always wrong, because they're not. But certain things, they're iffy. One thing I've yet to figure out, maybe you guys can, class, maybe you can help Dr. Sonny Prophet on this one. Fuck, I don't want to name names, but I have to under these circumstances. Uncle from Italy, the one we haven't seen since he went nuts in Norway, fucking told me a long time ago. I said, listen, Uncle, if you come over here, let's say you were, I was supposed to meet him in Iowa, but I couldn't leave the country. I fucking, I was out on bail. So I said, Uncle, if worst case scenario, you fucking, because America's a strange, strange place. Land of the free, home of the brave, but they're fucking crazy down there. They're fucking crazy. So do they have too many guns or they don't have enough guns? It's one of the two. Makes no sense at all. But every time we send someone down there, the team goes down there and 2 people don't come back. America's wild, So I said, Uncle, if you had to flee America and come to Canada, or I am in a country, who's in charge of my area on your level? And he didn't know the answer. He's like, I have to look into that one. And who it was like, I was thinking it was going to be, it's like, well, remember when Ma Boucher went down with the Nomads Hell Angels? Well, this person took over, and now that Rizzuto's gone to New York, and, I'm sure there was going to be a hierarchy of success. The name he said was someone not even involved in the criminal underworld. I'm like, who? He gave me some name. I'm like, I don't know who that is. He's like, well, yeah, bro, he's a fucking billionaire. I didn't think you knew who he was, Sonny. He's like, you probably don't go to his launch. That was a name I never even heard of. And then sheer fucking coincidence, years later on, some of the kids that are my brother's age, who are basically like a decade younger than me, they were partying, and I heard the name. And I met the kid, and it's the guy's fucking son. So I said nothing. At first I said nothing. I didn't even ask. I acted like I didn't know who his family was, Well, when I got to know the kid, I was even more confused. The kid wakes up every morning, eats Cheerios. The kid was just like me or my brother. He was a fucking kid. He was 19. No, he was 17. My brother was 19. He was 17. It's like, now listen, kid, let me ask you a question. You don't eat GMOs? He's like, well, I don't know. Like, where does your mom and dad go shopping? He's like, I got Whole Foods. I'm like, okay, well, fuck. Do they have their own garden and shit? They grow their own food? He's like, no. Like, what kind of water are you drinking? Are you drinking tap water? He's like, no. I'm like, so what are you drinking? He's like, Evian, bottled water. Like, what about the $7 bottle from Fiji? He's like, well, I don't think so. Just regular bottled water. Like, yeah, but the bottled water has the fucking... you understand the concepts of fluoride in the water? Why that's there? You understand that story? It's like, yeah, okay, so now it's in the bottled water. You can't escape it. But then the rich kid's son, he drinks the bottled water. So does the rich guy. And you see, like, Prince Charles, he's drinking bottled water, too. So I was a little bit confused by that. I'm like, so how are they fucking... So the plan is we're going to poison the world and make everyone dumb. It's not by one way, with 101 ways. One of them being we're going to fluoridate the water. It's like, yeah, but now how do the rich avoid that? Another one being we're going to GMO the food. And I'll give you an example. Let me explain to you this coronavirus as an alternate possibility, considering there's 101 crazy conspiracy theories. This isn't coronavirus, it's G5 virus, bro. Like, but wait, because of the 5G? He's like, haven't you seen the map? They're identical. I'm like, yeah, but these people aren't dying of radiation poisoning, bro. What are you talking about? He's like, what are you talking about? Look at the maps. I'm like, yes, but coronavirus are people dying of virus, germs, infection. As opposed to 5G, you live above the tower, and now you have radiation poisoning. So get a Geiger counter. No. And then you wipe it on another guy. Beep, 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 beep. See the huge difference, bro? So no, there's no... How are you linking the two? It's like, well, those maps look the same. Like, I carried away. I'm sorry, Sonny. And I was like, okay, but how about this? Maybe it's the GMOs. It's like when we're trying to feed Africa, GMO. Let me explain to you what GMO does. Antioxidants. You got, let's say cauliflower and broccoli. Which is, for example, if you have fucking cancer, or you want to prevent getting cancer, you eat as much fucking antioxidant broccoli and fucking cauliflower as you can. You eat it raw. You fucking stick it in your ass. You do as much as you can. Do lines of it. You'll be fine. Here's what we did. We took that same broccoli and the same cauliflower, and of course, it looks the same, tastes the same. It actually grows better. But what we did was that vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin A, riboflavin, all those nutrients, we GMO'd out of the fucking plant. So, you're going to eat the thing, and it's going to make your belly full, and you're going to have fiber, and you're going to take a nice big shit. But you're not going to get your fucking vitamins and nutrients, bro! So when the flu comes around like it does every fucking year, Now it's a pandemic. We're all dying because the flu's so strong. It's new. It's a new flu. No, it's the same flu we always have. Just that you're fucking weak as fuck because you don't have any supplements. You're not taking vitamin D. You're not drinking liquid silver. You don't have anything. You don't go. I mean, you know about the. Ouch. Sorry about that. Almost stepped on some Legos. You know about grounding? Are you grounding? You're not grounding. Well, you know, it's almost fucking May. You're gonna start grounding soon. You know who that is? Who's that? Who's that guy? Well, it's Wim Hof. You know who Wim Hof is? You don't know who the Iceman Wim Hof is. Jesus fucking Christ. We're all gonna die. You're all gonna die. Shame on you people. In the end, the Queen's gonna come pick up her smack. She's gonna use her fantastic navy. She's gonna bring it around the big mountain past to China. She's gonna dump it on the Chinamen. Make them all fucking worthless. Make them all drug addicts. Make the whole fucking country collapse. And we're gonna move in and steal their rice fields. Ding, 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 ding.